All right, welcome back. Today we are going deep, and I mean really deep, into one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, mysterious verses in the entire Torah. It's a single sentence that literally contains the spiritual blueprint for all of humanity. We're going to peel back the layers and get to the secret, the sud of what it truly means to be made in the divine image. Let's get into it. I want you to just imagine something for a second. Picture an endless, empty darkness, and then, out of that nothingness, a single point of light appears. This isn't some chaotic Big Bang, it's a deliberate thought, an intention. And this light, it starts to radiate outwards, but with perfect, incredible structure. It's forming a luminous, human-like figure. This is Adam. But look closer, this isn't flesh and bone. It's a being made of pure energy, woven together from 6 distinct shimmering directions of light. Up and down, front and back, right and left. And all these forces, all these 6 vectors, they converge into one perfectly balanced form. And right on top, there's this crown, this incandescent halo of light. That's the connection to a higher, almost unimaginable wisdom. This is the being we're talking about today. This is Na'aseh Adam B'Tzelmenu, the complete image.
So before we can even start to unpack how this being was made, we have to ask the big question. Why? Right? Why go to all this trouble? Why create such a complex, perfectly integrated being in the first place? What was the ultimate goal here?
And this, right here, is absolutely key. You see, the whole point of creation wasn't to make puppets or, cosmic pets. It was to create beings who could actually receive divine goodness, but not as a handout. It had to be as a deserved reward. The Kabbalists have a term for this. They call it avoiding the bread of shame. Because think about it, true satisfaction, true joy, doesn't come from getting something you didn't work for. It comes from achievement. So the whole system, starting with Adam, is built on this foundation of free will, the ability for us to choose, to strive, to work for it, and to truly deserve the infinite goodness that the Creator wants to give.
And this is where our whole perspective has to shift. From down here, on our level, everything looks separate, right? There's creation over here, then there are the commandments, then you've got reward and punishment. But from the divine viewpoint, it's all one thing. It's a single, seamlessly interconnected system. It's like a perfect loop, where, as the mystics say, the end is embedded in the beginning. The entire purpose of creation was already built into the very first spark. It's all one unified, elegant reality.
Okay, so if creation is this one unified system, what's it made of? What are the actual building blocks? How does an infinite, unknowable creator build a finite, knowable reality? Well, the answer lies in the fundamental architecture of the divine, what the Kabbalists call the 10 Sefirot. The easiest way to think about the Sefirot is to see them as the primary attributes of God. They're the tools, the channels that allow an infinite reality to create a finite one. You could even call them the source code of reality. These are the fundamental principles that govern everything, from how galaxies spin to the feelings in our own hearts. They are the absolute core components of the divine blueprint.
Now the sources, especially the great mystic Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, explained that these 10 Sefirot are organized in 2 basic ways. First, you have Igolim, which means concentric circles. This represents a kind of general, all-encompassing divine presence. Think of it like the laws of physics that apply to everything, everywhere, equally. But the second way, and this is the one that's crucial for us, is called Yosher, which means straight line. And this is when the Sefirot are arranged in the form of a person, in the form of Adam. This represents a detailed, specific, and interactive relationship with creation. It's the universe structured as a conscious being. So when the verse says, "Let us make man," it's really saying, let's structure all of reality according to this more intimate, interactive Yosher blueprint.
And this is where it just gets incredible. Let's actually walk through this structure of what's called Adam Kadmon, or primordial man. Right at the top, hovering above the head like a crown, is Keter, pure divine will. Then you have the intellect, Chokmah, or wisdom, that's like a flash of insight mapped to the right brain, and Bina, understanding, which develops that idea, is in the left brain. Then we move into the body, the emotions. Chesed, loving kindness, is the right arm, this drive to give and expand. Its opposite, Gevura, strength and discipline, is the left arm, the power to set boundaries. Balancing them perfectly in the center, the torso, is Tiferet, or beauty. Below that, the right leg is Netzach, victory, endurance, our drive to keep going. The left leg is Hod, splendor or humility, the ability to reflect. All of that energy is channeled down through Yesod, the foundation. And finally, you have Malkut, the kingdom, at the feet and the mouth. This is the final expression of the entire system, how it all interfaces with our physical world. For the mystics, this isn't just a nice metaphor. This is the literal spiritual anatomy of reality itself.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint, and we've got the components. But the real secret, the sod of that phrase, Na'aseh Adam, let us make man, is in the integration. That plural us hints that all these different forces, all 10 Sefirot, were brought together into one perfectly unified, fully functioning system. Let's try to unpack this with a more modern analogy.
I want you to think about him not as a biological person, but as a cosmic operating system, the ultimate piece of software that was designed to run all of reality. This analogy is a great way to bridge these ancient mystical ideas to how we understand complex systems today.
So let's break this down. Each Sephira, like Chesed or Gevurah, is like a core processing module designed for a specific function. Those 6 directions we talked about, the Sefirot from Chesed down to Yesod, they form the main body of the OS. Then you have the upper wisdom, Kabbalah, which stands for Chakma, Bina, Dot. That's like a direct high-bandwidth connection to the cloud, to the divine mainframe itself. And Malchut, as we said, that's the user interface, the screen, the keyboard, the way this incredibly powerful system actually interacts with the physical world. Adam, then, is the name for this whole thing working together, a perfectly integrated, fully networked system where every single module is in sync.
Now, the most crucial feature of this operating system is balance. Its primary job is to perfectly integrate opposing forces. The classic example is the push and pull between Chesed and Gevurah. Chesed is all about expansion, unconditional giving. Mystically, it's called Lavan, or white, and it's associated with the father principle. Gevurah is the exact opposite, contraction, discipline, setting boundaries. It's called Odom, or red, the mother principle. You see, a system with only Chesed would just dissolve into nothing. A system with only Gevurah would crush itself under its own weight. The perfection of Adam is that it holds these two, the right column and the left column, in perfect, dynamic tension. That tension is the very engine that drives creation.
And that's why the number 6 is so incredibly important here. It represents those 6 Sefirot from Chesed down to Yesod, the 6 ends or directions we saw at the very beginning. Front, back, right, left, up, and down. They form the core emotional and functional body of Adam, all unified and balanced by Tefera at the heart. This is the main processing unit of our cosmic OS.
This integration was so total at the beginning that the Zohar teaches something that's pretty mind-bending. The original Adam was created as a single androgynous being, not male or female, but a dual-faced entity that contained both the male aspect, Zohar, and the female aspect, Nikava, in one body. This represents perfect, absolute wholeness. It was a complete circuit where the giving energy and the receiving energy were perfectly integrated before they were ever separated into 2 different beings. This quote from the Zohar just lays it all out there. The goal is wholeness. A single person, it says, is like half a body. It's only when male and female energies are joined together that they form one complete body. And this is the kicker. Blessings, that flow of divine energy, can only rest in a complete place on a complete vessel. This is true on the cosmic level, and it's true on the human level.
Okay, so let's go back to our main verse. Let us make man in our Tzelem, our image, and after our Demut, our likeness. It turns out these are not the same thing. They're not just synonyms. They describe 2 totally distinct layers of this cosmic being, the inner code and the outer form.
Tzelem. This is the deep structure. It's the unchangeable spiritual source code. It's the divine template itself, that specific Yosher configuration of the Sefirot in the shape of a person that we've been talking about. This is the internal blueprint, that is, in its structure, identical to the divine reality itself.
Demut, on the other hand, that's the outer expression. It's the likeness. So in our tech analogy, if Tzelem is the source code, Demut is the user interface. It's the way that perfect inner template actually shows up and interacts with the world. It's the spiritual and, eventually, the physical form that we can actually see and relate to.
And you know, it always gets deeper. The mystics actually break down the very letters of the word Tzelem itself to show us the layers of the soul. The first letter, Tzadi, corresponds to the level of Ruach or spirit. That's the emotional world of those 6 directions. The middle letter, Lamed, corresponds to the higher level of the Neshama, the soul, which is rooted in Bina, or understanding. And the final letter, Mem, connects to the highest level, Chaya, the life force, which is rooted in pure Chachma, or wisdom. So the source code itself has its own layers of programming.
So you might be asking, okay, where does my physical body fit into all this? The Zohar is really clear here. Our physical form is just a garment. It's a vessel that houses this incredibly complex spiritual structure. It even quotes the book of Job, "Skin and flesh you clothe me." The real person, the real Adam, is the Tzelem, that inner spiritual system. The body is just the clothing, the Demut, that allows that system to work and live in the physical world.
So that brings us to the big finale. We have this perfectly designed being, this fully integrated operating system in a physical garment. What is it for? What is its cosmic job description? Here are 2 ways to think about this incredible potential. For the adults, we've got the cosmic engineering model. Adam is a unified system where all the different modules, kindness, discipline, and so on, are perfectly integrated with a direct line to top-level intelligence. Now, for the gamers out there, here's another way to see it. Adam is the ultimate video game character with every single ability unlocked right from the start. All the powers, fire, ice, strength, wisdom, they're not separate things. They're all combined into one ultimate synergistic form.
And this brings us right back to the end of that verse, and let them have dominion. But where does that power come from? It's not about force, it's about inclusion. Because the blueprint of Adam, the Tzelem, contains the source code for all of creation within it. Every animal, every plant, every force of nature, he can have dominion over them. The principle is beautiful and simple. To command the world outside, you have to first master the world inside. By balancing all these forces within himself, Adam harmonizes the entire cosmos.
This might be the most staggering idea of them all. The sources describe it as a partnership. It's as if God says, I create the system, and you, Adam, you sustain it. It says that all the worlds, all the Sefirot, took part in creating humanity, and now all of them need our actions to keep going. Our choices, the things we do down here in this world, send energy rippling back up the system. We're either sustaining the fabric of the cosmos, or, God forbid, we're diminishing it. We are not just living in creation, we are active partners in it. We're co-creators and sustainers.
Okay, so let's just pull this all together. What have we learned? First, every one of us is a microcosm of the entire divine structure, built from that same Sephirotic blueprint. Second, our real potential is unlocked when we integrate our inner forces, when we balance our kindness with our discipline, our ambition with our humility. Third, and this is a big one, our physical actions matter a lot. They have huge metaphysical consequences. And finally, the ultimate purpose is that we're designed for partnership. We're here to be active partners with the divine in the ongoing story of creation.
And that really leaves us with one final, and I think pretty profound thought. We've just gone through this incredibly detailed, powerful, and perfectly integrated blueprint of the human being. It's an amazing piece of cosmic design, which leads to the question we all have to ask ourselves. If this is our blueprint, what are we actually designed to build with it?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.